Alright, I just sorted out some audio issues. I just tried to record this video, but the audio balancing was wrong, so let's do it again. This time I'll go ahead and start with the build guide instead of gameplay. So what we're doing here is a Firestorm Pyromancer build. For our main DPS, we're going to be using Faser Beam. And we're also going to be using heatwave to apply debuffs to enemies and make sure that we burn everything in a closer range. And then we'll use Feed the Flames just for an on-demand full heal if we ever need that, which we usually don't, so I'll get into that. So to start off with the primary stats that we're going to be using, this is going to be a build that uses the Firestorm tree of Pyromancer, which is the Ignite tree basically. And because we're using Ignites, we're going to be scaling burn damage. So to do that, we're going to focus a lot on Anomaly Power here. We have some of our cooldown reduction nodes. Something important here is we're going to be using Incinerate, which inflicts Ash whenever burn ends. And I believe that the way this functions, I may be wrong here, but if you reapply a burn, that counts as the previous burn ending, so Incinerate applies. You'll see this in the gameplay, but this happens a lot where I am inflicting Ash whenever I'm swapping between Heatwave and Phaser Beam. So I believe that's how that functions. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, we're definitely inflicting Ash a lot, so this is most likely helping. We'll get uh, this anomalous lava just because it helps us tank a lot of damage. Having an extra 45% armor whenever we're spamming ignites on 7-second cooldowns, we have 100% uptime on this. Same with Magma Elemental, we'll have 100% uptime on this because we're switching between two skills that are on 7-second cooldowns. Fuel for the Embers is going to be important. Obviously, this one you have to pick up anyway, but because of the gear that we're using, if we ever fall below 30% max health, we become super tanky. So, Fuel for the Embers, make sure that if we ever do take enough damage that we're about to die, we're instantly back at full health because our skill leech is a ton. We have a lot of skill leech. Distant Flame, you're picking up a lot of health nodes here anyway with Magma Golem. Picking up Distant Flame just gives you an extra 10% anomaly power, which is pog, if you ask me. Wildfire decreases some cooldowns. We're not going to be using any cooldown reduction in our armor builds here, so getting as much cooldown reduction as we can for free in the tree is nice. And that may not be necessary. For example, instead of Wildfire here, we could just pick up a Trial by Fire here. This node of Trial by Fire, no, it's not. There's another node for it. Yeah, this node actually that gives 5% damage. If you're gonna pick that up instead of that, you're not gonna pick up that. You're gonna pick up this one, which is 15% more damage. But it's pretty toss up either way. Trial by Fire is probably better, but I like to have the cooldown reduction, just personal preference, because I like to be using Phaser Beam more. It's probably not that big of a difference overall, since either you're going to be using Phaser Beam more or you're going to be doing more burning damage. Not the biggest deal in the world. For the gear, let's start off with the weapon. I am using an Heir to the Desert, which, if you take a look at the stats on here, is important because these are the stats that you want to get. Armor Pierce is not the biggest stat in the world. It just helps you do more damage with your firearm. You're not going to be doing that much damage with your firearm anyway, so that's not super important. But mainly what we're focused on here is status power and skill leech. Status power makes our burns do more damage, and all of our other dots do more damage because they're statuses. And skill life leech, because we apply burn on our skills, the skill life leech is important not only because we heal every time we use a skill, but we also heal from the burns on the skills. So we're almost always going to be healing with this build. As long as you hit an enemy with a burn, you will stay pretty healthy. And the other passives here on the Heir to the Desert, the main reason I use this, I got really lucky whenever I picked this up, is because the Sandstorm passive on this is actually pretty OP. At level 43, it's doing 51k damage over 5 seconds, and that's in an AoE around the enemy that you shoot with it. And then for the secondary here, you can either pick up a CC, which you don't really need because you're going to be CCing a lot with Ash anyway. Uh, Here I'm using Burst of Decay from another legendary weapon, which critical shots inflict toxic on enemies within a 5 meter radius. Uh, if we go into the stats real quick, you'll see why this is important. We could use another status thing here, like, or another proc that would help us do more damage. But if we actually look at what status effects do, burn damage does 3.7% of your ability power every zero point 0.5 seconds for duration of 6 seconds. And because of our skill tree, we actually increase the time on that, so it's actually a little bit longer than 6 seconds. So whenever we're scaling burn, that's good. But here, the poison cloud creates a toxic cloud, which does 3.5% of our ability power every zero point 0.5 seconds. So that's much better than any bleed that we'd possibly be doing there. And that's also in an AoE. So while it's not quite as long as burn, uh, we can proc it every 5 seconds, and the cloud lasts for 5 seconds. So having an AoE cloud that basically is another burn that you have 100% uptime on is very good. Or I think I said it lasts 5 seconds, it lasts 6 seconds, and it procs every 5 seconds. Uh, and then as for our armor, you're going to want to pick up the Akari set if you're running burns. Because not only is Fire Tsunami really good, because here I'm using a radiation wave, which you can use if you're soloing content because it inflicts weakness, which means you take less damage from the enemies that you're doing, which increases your survivability. But also, if you look at the set passive, every enemy damaged by heatwave generate or grants 50% anomaly power for 10 seconds, which is OP. If there's no limit to how many enemies this can proc on, if you're just kiting a giant wave and get like 10 enemies hit with your heat wave, because it's so wide, then you're getting 500% anomaly power, which increases the amount of damage that your dots do, your damages over times, burn and toxic in this setup by a significant margin. Here we already have 50k anomaly power at item level 43, but once this set's complete, it's going to be significantly higher than that, which is obviously a very good thing. And as for the stats that you're going to be looking for on your gear, you're going to want something like this: Anomaly Power, Skill Life Leech, and Status Power. You do not want to get cooldown reduction with an Ignite setup because well, not most of your damage. Most of your damage is going to come from Faser Beam here, but a significant chunk of your damage is going to come from burn on enemies as well. And so if you reduce your cooldowns, uh, that doesn't really help you because usually everything's going to die in one shot anyway if you're on a proper world tier for your item level. And if it's not, then you probably need to lower the tiers. Uh, but having less cooldown whenever you're inflicting ignites, basically every 3 seconds, if you're switching between Phaser Beam and Heatwave, uh, you already have enough cooldown reduction anyway passively on your tree. Building more cooldown reduction doesn't help because of the way that Ignite functions, because you can't stack burn. And so that's mainly what we're gonna be using all of our gear. I think on my pants I have cooldown reduction. That's just because that's the way that these rolled. It's really good pants. I can't afford to get rid of them if I want to get the Akari bonus. Hopefully in the future I get some other ones that don't have it, but that's not super important for now. On the body, we're going to be using Size Matters, which increases the radius of our phaser beam and creates a little cool circle effect that swirls around your phaser beam whenever you shoot it, which is super impactful because phaser beam to begin with is a odd skill to use. It locks you in place, and it's kind of hard to aim at times since you can't really move around. So increasing the radius increases the amount of mobs that you can hit and increases the amount of mobs that you do hit whenever you're shooting it down a straight line at a bunch of mobs that are coming at you. And then here we have Perseverance Shield, which goes very, very well with another passive that we have on our boots here. Uh, Emergency Stance, that gives us Golem if our health drops below 30%. So let's go ahead and talk about this for a second, because here we have Golem, which reduces the amount of damage we take by 65% for 4 seconds if our health drops below 30%. And then we also proc Perseverance Shield, which gives us a 4k shield at this item level whenever our health drops below 30% every 5 seconds. So already we have quite a bit of durability here, considering that our skill leech is so high. If we actually look at our skill leech here, we're at 42.5% with this setup right now. And keep in mind, if we go to our class page here, those work directly with Fuel for the Embers. Whenever we drop to 30% health, we get double skill leech. So if we are in the situation where we're about to die and we hit 30% health, we hit Golem, which reduces our damage taken. Uh, we already have a massive armor bonus because we're using ignite skills every 7 seconds at least. So our armor ends up being around 50k right now with this setup. And then we also have Perseverance Shield, which grants us a shield too. So if we're not getting one shot, we are healing enough to make sure that we stay healthy. The only time that I've died with this build is whenever I take a big hit, whenever I'm at like 31% health. It's unfortunate whenever it happens, and it does happen, but it's rare enough that it's not a problem with the build that I really have. On the pants, we have Anomaly Echo, which just grants us a little bit bonus anomaly power. Keep in mind, this will scale with the Akari set bonus whenever we get Akari, so that's going to be very good for that. Since it is at item level 42 right now, a extra 3.6k anomaly power, which depending on how many you hit, that could be a lot more. And this is a lower item level than some of my gear, so this is pretty low right now too. And then I'm also using frequent phaser, which reduces the phaser or cooldown of phaser beam by 30%, which is helpful. Just so that you get more phaser beams off. As you'll see in the gameplay that I do, phaser beam is going to be our main source of damage. Bullet kindling here, enemies affected by burn take 20% more damage, obviously pretty nice. Here I'm using Inferno Wave. I could also be using the one that gives Phaser Beam more damage here. I'd probably get more damage out of Phaser Beam, but I'm using Heatwave enough that it's kind of a toss-up. I would rather have enemies that are closer to me take more damage, so whenever I'm using Heatwave, I have it on that rather than Phaser Beam. I don't think it matters which one you put it on, as long as you're hitting roughly the same amount of enemies with them, which you should typically be doing if you're playing how I play. Volcanic armor here, since I'm soloing content, having a little bit of extra tankiness whenever I'm using Phaser Beam is appreciated. It's not necessary. I don't really take that much damage whenever I drop to low health. It hasn't been a problem for me, so I could afford to get rid of this for something else, but as you'll see here, I crafted for Golem stance here rather than taking that off. If I had different rolls, I'd probably swap that for a damage roll, but I don't have any problem clearing content, and we'll see that whenever I actually get into the gameplay itself. And so let's go ahead and delete some of this stuff right now, just because it's bothering me. And yeah, so with that, we should be good to go into the actual excursion itself and see what we can do. So let's do Chem Plant. I feel like we can do Chem Plant without being one shot now. And we are doing this at 11, which is the highest I have unlocked right now. I'm pretty confident we'll be able to clear this. I imagine it's probably going to be a silver just because of the way the level's structured. It kind of takes some time, but we'll see. We may be able to get gold because I do a little bit more damage than the last time I attempted this run. Gotta love that online only gameplay. As you'll see, having that poison proc is very helpful because you can proc it. I think I said every 5 seconds whenever I was doing the guide, which is incorrect. I think it's every 1 second, so you can actually proc it basically every burst as long as you get a headshot. So that's helpful, and you'll see that tornado just does a ton of damage. It's 5k per hit. We'll ignite him, and then we'll go on and take out these guys over here. And we'll try to kite everything in here because everything's going to be spawning out of here. So take out this guy because he's in a corner that is very inconvenient for us. Alright, let's just cut everything over here, because they're going to be coming out of there anyway. This guy, I don't know why he's running away from me, but it's really inconvenient because mobs are going to be coming out of here, and yeah, I want him to be over here. As you can see, my health bar fighting elites just is not moving at all. They instantly got Ash there, which is beautiful. And here these guys come. And that's that cleared. This area is going to be kind of annoying. This is usually the area that takes the most time because it's wonderful and has this layout that none of the mobs rush you head on from. I will say, if there is one weakness for this build, a lot of your damage is going to be AoE, and so the odd enemy that lies in a corner that only pops his head up every once in a while, if you can't hit him with a Faser beam, there's not much that you can do about it other than pick him off whenever you get the chance to. Which does increase clear times a little bit, but I mean, it is what it is. If you're playing solo right now, until the servers are better, there's not much that you can do about it. Oh, thankfully right now everything's kind of just lining up for me, so that's pretty nice. Alright, he's dead, I believe. Kinda wanna focus on the things that are over here. unfortunate that they're hiding away over there, but I think that's everything in the way of the mobs that are kind of out of the way. Now we can just focus on running it down this lane right here. And this is where the build really shines on clearing content, because everything there just got ashed, and now we can do it again. And I'm literally standing in these waves on the highest tier that I have available to me, and they just do not do damage. Unless that happens, in which case I almost ate my words there, but thankfully the golem proc kept us up and running. Why the Juggernaut's running away from us, but it is what it is. And this is going to be another area that's just kind of annoying, not hard, but annoying to deal with because the mobs start out really spread out here. And they also click freeze, which is not the best to deal with on this build. I believe the first wave of enemies is going to come out the door behind me, so we're going to set up for that. Hopefully, if I can navigate around here, try to pick off a couple of these stragglers while we can. Not get freezed permanently, unless this guy just wants that to happen. Oh, I should probably not run into that right now. This guy's annoying me. I would like to use my Faser beam, please. No. Okay. That is a fun mechanic to deal with. I can't. There we go. Okay. That was almost bad. That freeze will get you. So here, we really want to stop this. As much as we can, because if those guys escape that and spread out all over the room, not much we can do, which they just did. Fuck. Here, we're gonna take out this little pack over here. to be low health, this guy. No, he's not. Fuck. Whenever you're lining up shots, you really want to get them where you can hit as much as possible, which is hard, at least with these guys. I prefer fighting the monsters because they kind of just run at you. And that's a lot easier content to clear whenever you want things to run at you in a straight line, so you can just kill them all with one shot, but you can't always get what you want. And now we just DPS this guy down. I believe we're going to be looking at a silver time here just because of the mechanics of the next area. Things kind of take a while to spawn. But that's fine. I wish you could skip these cutscenes. They do nothing but take time out of your time. Hit those, and these guys will just run at me for that. I can't use skills. I hate threes. Now we just have the juggernauts to kill. Hopefully we can just have them kite us into this corner without being frozen permanently. Please. Oh no. Okay. Which one of you is the guy? I want that one dead first. I'm all lined up here though, that's good. Oh, they're sticking together for me. That's the one. Fuck, he teleported. Yeah, definitely gonna get a silver time here, but it is what it is. If I had the full set bonus here, we would be through this no problemo with the extra burn damage that we get.
All I'm missing is some elevator music.
Cue unskippable cutscene. And now we just kill things coming out of these little... So honestly, what we're going to want to do here is just kind of go into one of these corners and let everything come at us, because that's how this build works best. Thankfully, most of this fight is going to be fighting these guys, so up until the Brood Mother, that's the only thing that can really damage us here. And the Brood Mother is probably gonna one-shot us, because that's happened to me before on this tier. On this level, I've actually attempted this same zone, but I did not have my helmet whenever I did that, so the helmet I have is a lot better. I think our damage should be high enough that we don't have to worry about it, and we have enough armor now. This is where it gets kind of annoying because we have to wait for everything to come out. Like, we could be done by now. Let's go ahead and back up into this hole if we can, please. As you can see, our health bar is not really moving all that much. It does occasionally, but it's never anything that we need to worry about. As long as we don't take 11k damage, we are fine. Unfortunate that this guy did not try to chase us down. Usually the AI is pretty good in this game, but every once in a while you'll get that one enemy that just sits there and does nothing. You get locked into a loop state. And now we get the boss coming out of this final area. Might get bronze here, which would be really unfortunate. Hopefully we can melt this boss fast enough. Yeah, this is the guy that we're worried about, because as you can see, if I get taken below half health and he hits me with that skill, I'm done. Woo! Just narrowly avoided a certain death there, which is going to be the biggest issue. I'm probably a little bit under geared for this specifically, so that's probably where all that damage is coming from. But it looks like as long as he doesn't hit me with that again, we only have one of the venomous peripheros or whatever those are left, so we should be able to, yeah, we survived that, and we should be able to kill him before he can do that again. Yep. Might have gotten bronze there though, which was real unfortunate. I wasn't paying attention. No, we got silver. Not the greatest run, but I mean, what can you do in solo? Especially whenever you gear level 43.
Outrider detected. Access granted.
If I had gear that was on par with what I was doing, that would have been a much faster clear. And no good loot. Alright. guess, resources to make sure we can level up our gear. But yeah, that's the build. I stream occasionally on Twitch at twitch.tv/xbod. Right now I'm playing Pathrider, or Path, no. Right now I'm playing Outriders. I'll probably stream a little bit whenever the new Path of Exile season comes out, because I like to race for that. Uh, if this build is helpful and gets some attention, I might make more. So definitely let me know, or let me know if you have any comments about the build. Uh, Anything that I missed to optimize it better. And yeah, I'll see you guys.